So we're here at TMEA 2020, and I'm here with Joe Nuñez, the director of bands at Tomball High School. New position for you. Tell me about what it's like to take over a new program, especially one like Tomball High School.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's definitely, I think anytime you're going into a new situation, obviously you're going to encounter some new surprises and things you're not sure about. And I was fortunate enough to be coming from a situation that was very positive for me, and I'd been at McKinney Boyd for 13 years. So this was a big change for me to take. It was my first time to become a head director of an existing program, so following somebody else. So it was important to me. The first priorities I had was to meet with the staff. And
what time of year did that happen?
It would have been the summer. So I was hired at end of May, beginning of June of last year. And plus the staff, I guess we had more conversations via phone and text and email because they were immediately leaving to go to Europe.
Oh, wow.
For quite an extensive period, and then followed by some drum corps. So it was going to be a while before we were going to get to connect in person. But I just wanted to know what in their minds worked and what didn't work. What did they like? What were their roles? Because I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to come in and step on people's toes or change people's job descriptions without consulting them. And
right.
And I wanted to know what their strengths were and what they wanted to keep on their plate, what they might not want to keep on their plate, and reprioritize or reshuffle job responsibilities amongst the staff. And
that's a good point for if you're a person that is getting a new head director, you can kind of re-identify yourself,
right?
And say, this is a good time. This is my strengths. These are my weaknesses. What do you think about that? And really work. That's a good time to jump out on something and shift some responsibilities around.
Right. And I took a step back from roles I'd had in my previous position, especially with the marching band, because I knew the associate director, Muriel Haig at Tomball, had been doing things with the marching band that I had been doing with my previous marching band, and she was happy to do those things, so I was happy to kind of take a step back and let her run with those things, and so that was a new experience for me, not being in charge of certain aspects of the program, and that was a good thing at the same time, and it gave her a chance to continue to flourish in those roles and assume some of those responsibilities.
Is it hard to step back from that? And
sometimes, sure.
I'm one of those I got to do it my way kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely an OCD, hands-on personality.
My assistant will roll his eyes if he were looking at that because it's always like, why don't you just do it?
Right. Yeah, and I'm used to having my hand in everything, so that was definitely a big change for me. Like, okay, no, I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to let it go and just see what happens.
Right.
And when at the end of July of last year, right before we started summer band, we had 2 days where I met with the student leadership and kind of did the same thing. I went around the room with everybody and tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like about the program, because tell me what are the traditions you've enjoyed and expect, because I didn't want to skip over a tradition that people were expecting and offend anybody.
Right.
And so I think coming into a new situation, obviously you've got goals and things you want to implement with a program, but you want to be respectful of what's been established there. So I think it's important to take a slow, steady approach and kind of pick your battles,
right.
Prioritize what are the things that are most critical to you that you need to do now, what things can wait 6 months, what things can wait a year, what things can wait 2 years, and kind of massage those things into place and not upset anybody, not turn over the apple cart, as they say.
Yeah, sure. You're in now about 7 months into the job, and so
right.
Some things you want to do,
yes,
you're going to wait till maybe next year for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that you've seen it, especially.
Right, and then given that you've got marching season and concert season, so I kind of feel like after marching season came to an end, like we were starting brand new all over again, going into concert season. So again, kind of taking an observer role of what had they been accustomed to with how they rehearsed concert season and how they did sectionals versus how I was used to and what I wanted to do. And I just kind of decided in my own mind to kind of go halfway with some of the things I would normally do just to make sure that they were comfortable with how I wanted to rehearse and kind of what my expectations might be versus what they were accustomed to.
Okay. True or false, when you go into a new program, you're going to lose some kids because you're different than the previous director?
That's probably both true and false.
Okay.
I think I've been real fortunate. I think, like I said, taking a steady approach to it and trying to be respectful of what has been established. I've been real fortunate that we didn't lose any kids here at the start of this year. And I think most of the kids were also kind of taking that observer role and giving me a chance to do what I wanted to do. I knew that there was definitely some kids in the program not comfortable or not liking what I was asking for or expecting. But I think once we got into the competitive part of the marching season and had some success, then I could tell that there was a vibe change with some of the kids that were not totally on board and like, okay, maybe he really does know what he's talking about.
Right.
And so they've kind of come around. Going into next year, I'm sure, I think with any program, you're going to lose some kids and you want that to be as minimal as possible. But I think if you're really careful about your approach and being respectful of the things that are important to those kids already, then you probably won't lose very many kids, I think, if you just take that careful approach with them.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.